We're gonna need more targets.
Yeah, that was fucking.
We're gonna need more bullets.
Thanks. We got Jerry coming in.
You're all invited.
I have a tiny house.
That's the funny thing.
That's right. They just invited the entire group.
We're all coming.
And then he's
I'll just come up and pretend like this.
What's the prefix here, Tony? Too long. Merriman, watch it. They get stuff like it. You gotta just Merriman. I'm sure you have the whole thing. Nick. For sell.
last time. Your crime scene. Let's go.
You need professional help.
Bad last time. Your crime scene.
Chingo de tengo fotos, ¿no?
Let's go. Whatever it is, these guys are addicts. Addicted to the heist, thrill manners. They don't do it for the money, they do it for the buzz. Soon enough, they'll need their fix. Tony, take the left. Borracho, follow me. Murph, go down the left. Okay, let's go. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down.
Lady, get in the car! Get down!
Borracho!
Back over. You respond, it's probably LASD. Let's seek our aim. This major crime is done.
Did you collect all this stuff?
I know what's up.
Let's just run that last part by the van to make sure that's good. Yeah. So from you guys walking over, so
Pablo, you go. So Pablo's off. Pablo's off with the gun. He's got the gun in his hand. Had him on, whatever, fuck it. Pablo's off. And you should probably go now. Slowly over now.
What else did you fuck up? Huh? You sure you were clear the whole way home? Pick up any tails?
And figure eights, no thieves.
Where did Marcus take those rounds?
Well, we knew the risk popped off, we handled it, that's it.
Hey, B. Get back over there. Find out who responded. It's probably LASD. They'll supersede Gardino.
We spent time doing military training 2 weeks ahead of time, and it really helped because the mannerisms, how you move with the pistol and what you're doing at different points, and how to run all through the woods, all kind of stuff. And it was a different environment. It's just brought off onto the city streets now, and then you see the same tactics like when instead of just we're able to lay down really strong fire and peel back at the same time. So to move further away from, you know, the target while firing and stuff like that. And all those different things we went over with training. We had a good coordinator. I don't know what you can compare it to. I haven't even seen anything on TV like that. In film that was that intense in that kind of setting, you know, like, cause there's cars all over the people. It's madness. Like, it's just they're getting out of the cars and running and all kind of stuff. You gotta imagine being in a traffic jam and a full-blown shootout starts taking place.
When I read it, what I also loved about it was I felt I'd never actually seen anything like it before. So it has those similarities, but also it does take you into this world. It is gritty, it is real, but it has so much heart as well. So on the one hand, it's a very complex heist, which is fascinating to get involved with, but you also follow these characters and their families, and you see the kind of hardships that they go through and how living this kind of life plays on them, and also how human they really are. At the end of the day, they're still trying to have families, they're still trying to live this, you know, to live a regular life in some ways. And it's so efficiently told, that part of the story, that it has a surprising amount of heart and emotion. And then a whole thing going through where you realize the world that you thought you were in is not necessarily the world that you are in. Twists and turns in a way that I've never seen a script like that, with so many surprises. Big Nick is a very, very powerful, driven alpha male in a world of alpha males. You know, his regulators, he handpicked each one of them on the basis of their wildness, their brutality, you know, and their smarts. But he lives in this world where you have to be willing to go to any length to get ahead, and that is the dangers inherent, that is the amount of hours you work, that is just that complete obsessiveness with the job at hand. And of course, you do that, and you know, it's a kind of process of osmosis. Things rub off on you, and he's not living the best life. When he's stakeout, you know, he's drinking too much, he's probably participating in many other things, and it's kind of a disaster for his marriage. You know, the more he devotes to that job, the less time he has for his wife, the less kind of an upstanding human being he's being. So he's really failing miserably at being a husband and a father, and that's where we come into his story at the beginning of the movie, where he's kind of been out partying and he comes home and she's had enough. And at first you just think, this guy's a punk, but as the movie goes on, you realize, you know, the pressures that play on him. And in actual fact, he is a hard charger in his life, but he's a hard charger at everything he does. And when it comes to being a cop, there's nobody like him. He's the best, and he gets things done, and he you know, brings down the toughest perpetrators to bring down. The outlaws are all ex-military, which is something that we start to piece together. You know, a lot of these guys, they grew up together. They've been friends for 20, 30 years, and they served together. So you know that they have this incredibly tight bond. You also know that they are this beautiful piece of working machinery that, you know, and you put that together with their fearlessness. You know, they served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and also that kind of code of conduct that they have. So they won't touch civilians, but they'll shoot uniforms. So you're more in danger if you're a cop taking them on. But at the same time, they don't really like what's going on. The second Big Nick comes on the scene in the regulators, they don't like that because they know these guys. And no criminal wants the regulators on top of them because these guys, they operate in a different way. And they're going to break a lot of rules to bring you down. He's like a master. Like he's been doing it his whole life. And you know, in the little bits that he needed, you know, help with, you help him. But he had no ego, such a great, you know, so great to work with. And we've worked so well together. But he has also such an understanding of film history, filmmaking. So his, you know, the way he puts scenes together, the way he puts shots together, and his understanding of pacing and everything, I've been very surprised and very happy, but also his manner on set and allowing you to experiment, to have fun, to go for it, and being incredibly encouraging and passionate and just sensitive to your needs. That's something you don't often get with a first-time director. And that's another thing that Christian brings, both as a writer and as a director, is he's a strong, masculine guy. You know, he's all about his martial arts. Most of his buddies are some of the toughest guys you've ever met. But he's also incredibly soulful and one of the most sensitive individuals I've ever met. 'If I had two words to describe Merriman, is intelligent and ferocious, and yet a lot of that ferocity is just balled up and it's hidden inside. You know, I love his quietness and his study, and that's who Pablo is, and he brings a huge amount of dedication. Like, you see how hard he works. You see the size of him. It's hard to be big when you're like 6'4". I mean, I'm 6'2". It's hard enough for me to get big, but I know it's even harder for him to get big, and he's like a monster. And the training that he's put in, you know, with the guns and with Paul Maurice, our kind of technical advisor, he's worked so hard and he looks so proficient, and he's just that kind of all-rounded badass that is Ray Merriman, you know. So it's been, and a very, very, very talented actor, and just brings it 1,000%, which is what we needed for that role. $50 Cent as a person he's more kind of bubbly and light. He's such a funny guy and a sweet guy. He's always smiling, you know. With Anson, he takes the weight that he has and the gravitas, and he lets that shine, just pulls it all in and focuses. And when he speaks, it's crazy. Like in the read-through, barely raised his voice, but you didn't listen to anybody in the room more than you listened to him. And when he said something, it meant something, and that's who he is. He's just powerful, quiet, considered. So if he says he's going to back you up, he means it. And if he says he's not happy with you, he just has to say, not happy with you. And you go, okay, I get it. O'Shea, to me, is the find of this movie. I got to tell you, that kid is amazing. His mind is just extraordinary. It's been twisting and turning and twisting and turning. We think we're heading for a showdown. It's not what's happening. It's something completely different. We think they've got away, and suddenly, no, we're on them. And it's on. And we're behind them. We're stuck in traffic. They're pinned down. They can't get out. It's a shitty decision to have to make because we're in the middle of traffic. But otherwise, the same thing's going to happen as happened at the beginning of the movie. They're going to get away. And so we basically have to go and try and take them out. But earlier on that day, we were all aware that this was war. We were going to war. You know, we're all sitting up. And it's that two tribes go to war. And that moment has arrived. And again, like I say, in the worst possible way, because you have to see this to see there's hundreds of cars. We're in the middle of a traffic jam, and this is a route that has lorries, vans, trucks. It's just the worst place to be carrying this out. But and then it unfolds into what I think is going to be one of the most tremendous action scenes. And again, tremendous one, because we get big action scenes in movies now, but because this movie so specifically has these characters that you've grown and know and feel and love and hate, but understand, and again, become emotionally involved with, it has a whole different meaning. That's what takes it away from just an action movie, because you are living every moment with these characters, and because it is not, we made sure to stay away from stunty action, but to base it in reality. Who are the cops? How do we fire? How do we approach? What do they do?
On the set of Den of Thieves 2.
Here we go.
From the very beginning, we knew we wanted to build a franchise, because when I researched the first one, I met so many different, real world characters that were thieves, and there were so many different heists to cover. There was too much material for Den 1. So it was all plotted by design initially from the very beginning.
Sir, I have reason to believe my suspect is still operating.
And you know this how?
I just do.
We talked about, after the first Den of Thieves, we were already talking about this idea. Christian had done a lot of studies and was fascinated with the Panthers.
Any sequel requires a lot of work, and it's tempting to go with kind of the first idea that you have on a sequel, and we talked at length about what it could be before even the first Den of Thieves came out.
I do an insane amount of research. For example, Den 2, I don't, just sort of read articles or watch documentaries or that sort of thing. I actually go into the world. I seek out the actual people, the actual cops, the actual criminals, the actual thieves. I went to Serbia, to Belgrade, met a bunch of the Panthers, and more to sort of just to understand who they are. I want to have a deeper understanding of who they are as people.
He really dove in and started to research, and I think that process took about a year longer than we had anticipated.
Christian always fascinates you with the level of detail that it's hard to even say I've never come across that level of specificity before. I've never even come close to that level of specificity, and kind of, you just, as an audience member, you're taken so deeply into that world. It's so smart, it's so elevated.
That isn't missing anything.
There you have it.
How the fuck does the Fed have no idea it's been ripped off? How's that happen?
Tell me. My first impression of the script when I read it was, here goes Christian again. Christian is about to throw me in the ocean. Christian is about to make me get in high-speed chases, but we gotta go bigger and better.
It's all dictated by where you are in the world, right? So in the first one, having grown up and knowing crime in LA and the world of, LA so intimately, just really wanted to sort of tap into that vibe, that energy of what, Heat, for example, obviously a big influence, Michael Mann, amazing filmmaker, but the world of Heat was manufactured. Like that's not really the world of crime in Los Angeles. Our sort of, Den 1's much more gritty and grimy, but that's more closer to the reality of it all.
It was a chance to take the Euro version, where Donnie and Nick are on this collision course.
The criminal underworld over there has a completely different energy, a different vibe, and just really wanted to capture that. So we were watching films like all the old, French New Wave stuff like, Melville and Le Cercle Rouge and Rififi, and then Ronin was a huge influence. And the look of those films, everything in Europe is smaller, it's tighter, it's more compact, and there's a subtlety to the criminal underworld there. They're more sort of underplayed.
This is the entire theater.
We've recce'd every security measure in the district. As you can see, there are no dead zones. So we'll have to create one.
I got really excited because it follows the first movie, but it's a separate movie unto itself. And, you know, I just pictured the scenes, the scenery, and the location in Europe, in south of France. And I thought, wow, a heist movie in the south of France. That would be so cool.
So as part of my research, I go to the actual place where I know I want to shoot. Went to the south of France, so we're setting it there. And I basically shoot the film prior to doing the movie, prior to even writing it, with, you know, still photographs. So I photograph it all. I go to the places. I have an outline of what all the scenes are going to be, the overall structure. I mean, every scene. And then I basically go shoot it. I start building a soundtrack around everything. And then when I'm writing, I've got the visuals and the sound. I already got the whole vibe and the feel of the movie as I'm writing it.
So what's my cover?
You're French, of Côte d'Ivoire descent. You're a diamond dealer working out of London, and we're EDM club promoters here to promote the festival for the next 2 weeks. So that's our clock.
About 6 months before we actually started the film, we were prepping in the south of France, and kind of the world, you know, economy fell apart, and the tax credit changed, and the conversion of the currency worked against us.
Money, money, money.
We shot the film in the Canary Islands in Tenerife, and we were doubling the film for Nice, France.
When the exchange rate changed, it became too expensive. We had to move down here to Tenerife.
There's a lot of different influences in Tenerife, you know, that it can double for a lot of different places.
I was going there with my production designer, Sebastian, who's French and who lived in Nice for years and years. And all the art directors were from down there as well. We chose Tenerife because it matched the light, the architecture, it matched most closely to the south of France. But then there's micro things that you do that you change when you go to a location, right? When you find, okay, this is where we're actually going to shoot the thing, you make little adjustments. Hopefully you're able to, you know, obviously have in your head exactly what you want.
It was really important that we had a Frenchman on the movie, and particularly a production designer who could speak to the little details of everything that is different in Nice, where the movie takes place in the script, to the Canary Islands, to Tenerife, where we shot the film.
But the benefit is, because I have everything shot ahead of time, we go to the location manager, we say, like, look, this is what we want. And so you can sort more surgically find those spots.
When you have, you know, a writer director, it is often easier, because especially when you're scouting and you see something and you're like, oh, you can change that in the script. You have that freedom, so it's very beneficial.
Honestly, Tenerife is probably the best part about Den of Thieves. It's just like, how could you not like being here? No, the Porsche. My favorite thing is the Porsche. That is the shit. There's no way around it.
Again, I try to write with great specificity, so I wrote in the script specifically the Porsche Taycan as the car in the script before I had any idea Porsche was going to be involved, knowing that, of course, they probably won't be involved. It may become an Audi or a Peugeot or who knows, or Renault, whatever.
Nothing better than a good car chase in Europe.
Two things about the sequence. I wanted to be tactically spot on, meaning there is a very specific way to fight a gunfight from vehicle to vehicle.
Yeah, you always do some kind of training for you kind of have to when you're going into these scenes. So you do gun work. This was a tricky one because there was so much maneuvering of guns inside a Porsche, which, much as it's a beautiful car, it wasn't designed for you know, full-length guns, reloading. And then the tricky thing in this was a lot of the time we were firing backwards, so you have to get off your seat.
A little bit. Okay, perfect.
That's great. Look at that.
Fire.
So I wanted to show that. So I worked with my advisor, Slavko Ilic, as to the specifics of vehicle-to-vehicle gun battle and what that looks like. So scripted that, and then put in the Porsche Taycan because of the specifics of the road. Again, all the roads as written were based on real roads that I drove. And I also wanted to have an electric car, so I felt that it would be interesting to sort of, you know, being where we are in the world today, and I'm a car nut, been a car guy my whole life, it would be kind of cool to have an electric car. So I put in the new Porsche Taycan.
We won the Porsche lottery. In pre-production, we had really a huge task to find the cars for the bad guys and the good guys, and the cars that would work and play in our final shootout, car chase and shootout. And cars are expensive, and these ones needed to go really, really fast and look really, really cool.
Yeah, we gotta do it again. That part was amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, the blue Audi needs to be more in front, not the red Audi.
Porsche came to our rescue. They literally had designed the cars. There were 5 Porsches in the film. They were about to destroy all 5 because they were built for another project pre-COVID, and that project went away, and it was a day or two before they were going to be destroyed, and our product placement people, Adam and Kat Stone, called Porsche, and by coincidence they said, well, we just happen to have 5 brand new, perfectly tailored to shoot your movie Porsches available.
All the executives from Porsche, the engineer, they read the script, and I told them about, you know, the gunfight, the specifics of it, the roads, why I chose those roads, and how I wanted to be a vehicle-to-vehicle tactical gun battle plus a real driver sequence. And the inspiration for it was John Frankenheimer's film Ronin.
I'm not gonna lie, scary.
Just, you know, action movies kick your ass. So you gotta have, you know, a little bit of bounce back in you.
It was full on, and you break it down into different segments.
Porsche and they brought all their engineers, and they were unbelievable.
What we have here is called a pod car. This car is a car that allows the actor to act safely inside the car while the stunt driver drives from above the car.
I believe it's the first time it's ever been done. A pod's been done for gas-powered cars, but not electric. So they put the controls of the car, you know, the steering, throttle, brake, everything, and they put it on the roof.
So that we could sometimes, in certain shots of the driver on top, they put all the electrics up top.
Then rewire everything and put so the stunt driver's on the roof of the car driving the goddamn thing, while our actors are performing, and our cameras in there. You know, literally the camera operator's like leaning on the hood and, you know, just handheld and pushing in. We're usually very wide, and, you know, pushing in on the guy in the back, and then on the passenger, on the driver.
And the car was specially designed so it could do handbrake turn. You know, it was a prototype that they made.
Well, that's actually O'Shea. Well done, O'Shea.
Yeah. It's the most beautiful car, and the way it holds the road, just stunning, breathtaking to look at, to be in, and the way it drove around those roads. Didn't mean that they didn't have to do crazy stuff, because of course in film they go, all right, if we get that, we're gonna push it to this, we're gonna push it to this.
But that, it might sound, oh, you just take all the wires and put them up. That might sound easy. It was a phenomenal task, and I think has never been done before on a film. We're the first film, I believe, to have these electric Porsches. Important distinction, electric Porsches playing on screen.
What? That was fucking bananas. Yeah. Oh, shit.
So there was tons of prep going into that.
So right now it's Porsche, blue and red, right?
And it was really about building out the cars, be able to control them from the roof, and then the actors had to rehearse the hell out of that, going in and out of the car, in and out of the window, because we wanted to again get the accuracy of the tactical accuracy of a shootout from vehicle to vehicle, and that was the key to that sequence. But it was the ability to have the drivers on the roof, so the actors can actually perform, and be able to have the camera go in and out. That was sort of an engineering marvel on their behalf.
But I heard that, so after the movie though, these stunning cars are being scrapped because they were designed especially for the movie, right? And we're all sitting in these cars going, are you kidding me? Like, they're actually going to the scrapyard because they were made especially for us. They're not certified for normal road driving. So of course I'm sure Porsche are thinking, well, we don't really want to just say, yeah, take that, go out and drive it around. Like, are you kidding me? This thing is going to the scrapyard.
In terms of the technical stuff, I have, you know, my army of technical advisors that, you know, ensure that everything's done exactly correctly.
But we're not just dealing with the technicalities of this story, we're also talking about these two characters who are starting to bond, surprisingly.
In the first Den of Thieves, he's kind of just the guy in the background because, you know, he's the mastermind behind everything. So he doesn't want to make waves, he doesn't want to stand out.
I love the ending to the first movie because there was a lot of gray in there. he does ultimately defeat most of the bad guys, but then finds out that he's been completely hoodwinked by Donnie, who's got the better of him. There's a smile that he gives at the end of the first movie, that was actually pretty well played.
Fucking Fräulein.
So on the one hand, he's impressed. He has a worthy adversary there. And, you know, a lion like a silverback gorilla, like Nick needs another silverback gorilla to wrestle with.
So at its core, this film is really a love story between two guys, between a thief gangster and a cop.
Mademoiselle, grab a seat.
And that was a very important to me when I was working on the script with Christian was, what do they want to say to each other? What will they find out about each other? Because you love both these guys. And it's fun when they're adversaries, but it's also kind of fun when they're bonding as well.
Oh, this is ice cream?
What? Gelato.
Fucking good.
For he and I, it's really about the emotional trajectory of his character, right? And about where Nick is when we start out, where he's going.
Honing it down and making sure all these little avenues and stories and characters, everything worked, because as you know, Den of Thieves is well known for its twists and turns, and you have to make sure every single one of them pans out, and you can't be caught out here or there, or if this happens here, what's it saying about over there? So, and also in terms of keeping the whole thing grounded and believable.
Fucking hate suits. Nothing good ever happens in a suit.
You're writing with more specificity. There's a, you know, when you're writing a spec script, for example, and you have like no idea who the actors are going to be, no idea where you're going to shoot it, to know those things is a completely different process, really.
This is my first sequel in my career, so it's cool to go back to a character and kind of get a new feel for him, see where he is in his life, see where you are in your real life, and how you can blend it together.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is the Uber.
And then I actually, end up, working with the actor more while I'm actually scripting. I'll like send them pages as I go, because they're of course going to be the ones performing it. And that process I love. It feels like much healthier, much more like sort of organic. It's much more natural. And then they start playing with the scene, and they'll put it on its feet and play it. I'll listen to it, make some adjustments.
If Christian says it's dope, it's probably dope.
Action!
You like to have that type of security, It's cool to be back with him and Jerry for this, and I wouldn't do a Den of Thieves without Christian.
I also think it's interesting when, you have this American touch meets European cinematography. So it's like almost, like Giovanna is almost Christian making, like the way Christian has cast this entire movie, I just think he's done a beautiful job when it comes to casting, because you have like all of us are the European touch, and then we have America. It's like everything is coming together.
I quickly came to realize that he did one thing very, very smart. He casted like almost everybody. He casted people not like only their talent, or like, that's the kind of concierge I want, or Shava, or whatever. He was like, this person is the personage.
Again, having written it, having researched it, actually hung out with the people the characters are based on, I knew very, very specifically who these people were, what they looked like, what their vibe was. So the cast was actually pretty surgical.
We were blessed, really, to find such amazing talent in this movie. All of our actors, I mean, literally there's not a weak link.
And everybody got along so well, and we were so lucky to have sort of created this, the energy between all of them, created like really a family. And we had actors from France, from Sweden, from UK, from Italy, from Spain, so it was very, very international. It was very, very cool.
Hollywood and Europe, the European film makes an American film. That's what makes this movie special and magic. All you guys brought that. You're the guys that represented that, the different languages. Everything was so fucking cool. Am I really rapping him right now?
Yeah.
Am I really rapping him? Jerry, my brother.
This was a fucking, because nobody writes like Christian in terms of let's fucking get this all in there and make it as big and epic as possible. But we all have to, you know, band together to do that, and you guys have just been amazing. And Christian, I love you, man. Like, thank you for what you said. And O'Shea, it's been a fucking, you're my brother, man.
Yeah.
All the cast, you know. I swear, I don't normally cry like this, but just, if you fucking do what I went through just to get to this first day, and I can't believe I'm through it, and I really feel like we have I think we've made something really beautiful, but all coming from the mastermind of Mr. Gudegast and Alan, my partner, and Tucker. We've been through the wars together, you know. I'm gonna shut up, but just, guys, thank you so much.
When I make movies, I care, which is why I think I got so emotional on that rap speech, because suddenly it hits you how much work you've put in and how much care. Not just me, that's why I said to the crew, you know, that everybody puts in. But for me, I feel like I'm thinking story, I'm thinking location, I'm thinking shot, I'm thinking hair, I'm thinking makeup, I hate to say it, but I'm in a scene and I'm also watching all the other performances. I would get lost in the scene. But it's weird because when I make movies, that's when my brain kicks into all these different when I'm not making movies, that's when I fall apart, because it's like there's not all these levels to work on. But on movies, I'm thinking on all these different levels, and it feels very connected. And I love it, and the more that it comes, the more it kind of clicks in. So yeah, I have this way with Christian, and it's almost like we speak a whole other language that's invisible to everybody else. That's a special thing, I think, that him and I have going on that's really fun. Again, all of that was even wrapped into that kind of sadness finishing up this movie, you know, because all those things, you live in all those things and all those moments and all that creativity and all that challenge and all that exhaustion, you know, filming, because this movie has been exhausting. And then finished, done, like that. It's a wrap. You're like, oh, hold on, wait, what do I do now?